a little bit about what is happening. Now, the high-profile meeting that is supposed to take place between American delegation and Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is something that we are waiting for. But an important meeting has already taken place between the Iranian delegation and the Pakistani officials. That meeting was led by Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and we are showing you the visuals of that crucial meeting as well that took place a short while ago, wherein you can see the Iranian delegation on one side and the Pakistani delegation on the other. And in this meeting, reportedly, Iran handed over its list of demands to the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif so that they are conveyed to the United States of America, to the American delegation that is led by J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States of America. On the other hand, an important meeting took place, in fact, between J.D. Vance and his team and Pakistani Prime Minister and his team. That was more of a welcome meeting. It was kind of a bilateral. What reports are suggesting that in this meeting, the Iran issue was not discussed. Let's also show you, viewers, the visuals that we have got at this point in time. Now, these visuals are from the meeting that took place a short while ago between Iran and Pakistan. Iranian delegation is led by the Speaker of Iranian Parliament, and you've got Shehbaz Sharif, the Pakistani Prime Minister, on the other side, and this one is the Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, who's also part of this high-profile delegation. Now, this delegation also has the Governor of the Central Bank of Iran, and this meeting, in fact, took place a short while ago, and in this meeting only, reportedly, Iran handed over the list of its red lines, list of non-negotiables. Let me also now welcome our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. We have Dr. Brahmachalani, Strategic Affairs expert, retired Major General Kocher, who's a defense expert, also live with us right now. So is my colleague Shrinjoy Chaudhary. We also have with us Irfan joining us live from Islamabad, tracking all the developments from there. Irfan, very quickly to you first. What is the update from the ground?
These two meetings, I mean, there are a lot of speculations that, Iran has given a different statement and, United States of America, I mean, is not agreeing to unfreeze the Iranian assets, which is not true actually, and it is not confirmed by Pakistani sources. And I think we should avoid this speculation, and we should not trust these sources. So the news which was earlier given, it was from the international news agency, AFP, Reuters, and other international news agencies, and Pakistani media. I mean, it was later known that these are the sources and these were the news that which was aired and which was broadcasting, which was shared from the international news agency, and it cannot be denied so quickly. And I think we should wait for some time, and we should give some space and time to the negotiating team to reach a conclusion. So initially, there are two meetings, separate meetings were held. I mean, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, of the Iranian delegation, and U.S. delegation, both meetings were held in a very conducive environment and very smiling, very positive. And Shehbaz Sharif and government of Pakistan released a statement after that meeting that it's a very positive meeting and it's a step towards a long-term solution.
Okay. Irfan, stay on with us. Dr. Brahmachalani, so far, we are getting optimistic noises from Islamabad. The latest update is that Pakistan is now trying that both sides come together on the same table. They sit across each other. Do you see that happening?
Look at the ironies first. The war was launched by Trump to topple a regime in Tehran, and now, having failed in that mission, Trump has sent his vice president to negotiate with that same regime. This is the highest level U.S.-Iran negotiations since the 1979 Iranian Revolution. So it tells you a lot that what war couldn't achieve, now diplomatic efforts are underway. In a way, J.D. Vance has been sent to Pakistan to help rescue Trump from his war debacle. Because this war delivered one of the most strategically self-defeating wars in modern American history. It has weakened American power. It has eroded America's international credibility and standing. And it has strengthened the very regime in Iran it sought to crush. So the question really is, can diplomacy succeed where military power failed? And I think that sending J.D. Vance there, first is a gamble, but a gamble based on some risk-taking because J.D. Vance cannot afford to go back to Washington empty-handed. It's neither in Washington's interest nor in Tehran's interest to resume armed hostilities. So there might be a broad understanding. I don't mean a deal, certainly not an agreement on the core issues. Those issues cannot be resolved in a matter of few hours. These negotiations are going on for just for today, actually. We don't know whether they'll continue tomorrow. It took 2 years to negotiate the nuclear deal during the Obama administration with Iran. And now there's so many other issues, including the Strait of Hormuz, Iran's missile program, Lebanon. So there is no way that the core issues can be settled. But the two sides can reach a broad understanding, that could be vague, but prevents resumption of armed hostilities. It allows both sides to issue contradictory statements. That's okay. But as long as there's an understanding that the two sides will not resume armed hostilities, then J.D. Vance can return home as the man who delivered on the path of, through diplomacy. He delivered what Trump failed to accomplish through war.
Right. I think the moot point, like you mentioned here, is can diplomacy really succeed where military power failed? And we'll, of course, take it forward in just a bit. We have some more breaking inputs coming in at this point in time. And we have learned that there is going to be a big focus on Lebanon as far as these talks are concerned. Lebanon ceasefire is likely to dominate the talks that are going to take place in Islamabad. This is the update that we are getting. Shinjoy Chaudhary joining us live right now for more on this. Shinjoy, there is some news coming in from Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson.
Yes, the Iranians would want that. This is exactly what they would want, because they would want to protect their friends, the Hezbollah, because the Hezbollah has been hit fairly hard, is what we are hearing. Because initially they were also very strong in southern Lebanon. But because of those Israeli attacks, all the bombing, they moved further north towards Beirut. And there too, there has been a fair amount of fighting, a lot of bombing and so on. Now, Iran wants to ensure that at least Lebanon quietens, because the Hezbollah are very loyal supporters of the Iranians. So and it's all they have, because the Houthis so far have just fired one missile, as you know, and that was intercepted. The Hamas is not what it was. So the Hezbollah, while a little degraded by all this fighting, is something the Iranians want to hold on to. So this is why Lebanon is an issue for Iran. It's a hot button issue for Iran.
Right. Shinjoy, stay on with us. Let me go across to Irfan as well. Now, viewers, Irfan has been bringing to us all the updates from Islamabad, where the talks are going to happen, the crucial talks that will decide the future of West Asia and, of course, the energy markets across the world going forward. Now, Irfan, you know, usually when talks happen, there is a broad agenda that is circulated. But in this case, there isn't a lot of clarity. But reports are suggesting that Lebanon ceasefire is likely to dominate talks. What is the update that you have?
If you ask me personally first, that I tell you one thing, that Israel was not convinced, to have talks with Iran, and this is why it pushed the United States to wipe out Iran and not to negotiate with it. The reason why I have gone through so many reports which were published in the United States, that Netanyahu tried to convince every president, to attack on Iran, but they have somehow they have not accepted his suggestion. So this time, Donald Trump, I don't know how he managed to convince him to attack on Iran, and this resulted in a way that the United States of America and the forces badly got stuck there, and ultimately they had to come to the negotiating table. And right now, this is the interlinked issue that on one side, U.S. holding negotiations with Iran in Pakistan,
Right.
and on the other side, Iran continuing attacks on Lebanon, which may affect talks, but both the parties, particularly Iran, America,
Right.
and Pakistan, they know that they will not be affected by this issue. And the reason why Iran also wanted to be, Lebanon part of this truce, that
Right.
Israel should stop bombing. So you can doubt the intentions of Israel. I mean, we are not against Israel, but the actions tells the story. On the
Right.
one side, the talks are going on after killing 65,000 people in Palestine. I mean, Israel just convinced the United States to go for attack in Iran.
Right. Irfan, stay on with us. We would also now like to tell our viewers a little bit about the demands that have been put across by Iran. And demand number one is actually a complete end of Israeli operations in Lebanon. Apart from that, Israel wants America to release its frozen assets. That's demand number two. Then America, Iran, in fact, wants an end to Washington's sanctions on Iran. And Iran's control over Strait of Hormuz is something that Iran is demanding. There should be no objection by America to Iran's Hormuz toll plan. Then Iran is also demanding war damage compensation from the United States of America. Then Iran wants U.S. forces to also withdraw from the entire region. Now, this is what, reports have suggested. These have been the key demands that Iran has made. Let me go back to my guests and my colleagues who've been tracking the developments very closely. Major General Rajan Kochar, now, I just read out a list of demands that Iran, has been speaking about, to really bring an end to this war and to really come to a deal with the United States of America. Do you think, these are the demands that America could say yes to? A couple of minutes ago, we also got a news report suggesting that America has agreed to at least release the Iranian assets that were frozen for years. Do you think that's possible?
Thank you, Anna. I actually tend to go with the thought process of Brahma Chelani, because these demands, I think it's like a wish list. And America is not going to concede. See, what demands it can actually concede is that some accounts will be unfrozen. I believe $6 billion is in question. They are saying the immediate release. I think America is already considering that. And later on, slowly, the other frozen assets will get released. The sanctions will get lifted. Yes, all this is possible. But Lebanon is one issue. Let me tell you that since Israel is not here in these talks right now, and again, Donald Trump spoke to Netanyahu yesterday. You see, I believe, on the Lebanon issue. And today, the situational report from Lebanon is not good news for Iran. So I think Lebanon is going to be a very, very big issue, because you see the other issues, talking about the Strait of Hormuz and all, to a large extent, because of this damage and done to the infrastructure and to the other things in Iran, it can justify that a toll kind of a thing. A period also can be laid down as part of the negotiation, that for the next 5 years you can take the toll, and after that you must stop doing that. Something like that can be worked out, because it's possible to do it on both sides. Also get addressed. The toll also gets addressed, and the Americans also are able to force this time period on the toll.
Right.
But then what is important here is Lebanon, because I have a fear that it is going to get stuck up there, because Israel is too deep into Lebanon as of now.
Right.
One division, one infantry division, independent brigades are there. It's a very strong offensive operation, which is going along, and it is not going to culminate in 7 days, 15 days, 20 days. It is
Absolutely.
going to take months. So I think that should be, you see, an area which I think Pakistan, I don't think can contribute much to that. But I think Netanyahu is the person who will have to be convinced to stop that operation.
Okay. Mr. Brahmachalani, Israel clearly is the elephant in the room and not part of the talks that are happening in Islamabad. Will Netanyahu really listen to, Trump after the agreement? Because there was a ceasefire agreement earlier also. Despite that, attack on Lebanon, on Hezbollah specifically, continued.
Hina, the ceasefire agreement covered the entire region, including the Gulf Arab countries, and the very fact that Trump, on his Truth Social platform, posted Iran's statement on the ceasefire. Trump also posted the Pakistani Prime Minister's statement on the ceasefire, saying that Lebanon is included. All that indicated that Lebanon was part of the broader ceasefire arrangement. Until Trump received a phone call from the Israeli Prime Minister.
Mr. Brahmachalani, apologies, I'm interrupting you there. We have an important update coming in at this point in time. We have to quickly, inform our viewers about it. Iranian media reports are suggesting that the talks have already begun. The trilateral talks, in fact, are happening right now. This is the big news that we are getting for our viewers right now. Let me straight away go across to my colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary for more on this. Srinjoy, trilateral talks means all three sides are there on the table?
Earlier than what we thought, probably. We imagined that today Iran and Pakistan, and then America and Pakistan would talk. But trilateral talks, we imagined, would probably happen after there was a level of confidence, a level of trust. But clearly, people want to move ahead. The vice president probably wants to return as soon as he can. And what we are hearing is trilateral talks, which means America, Pakistan, Iran, importantly, have just begun. This is a big moment, and it suggests that at least some forward movement could happen. Of course, nobody knows what will eventually happen, because this situation is so delicate, so fragile, and so uncertain that, but the fact that the two countries, the Americans and the Iranians, are actually face to face in the same room at the same time is actually a significant development.
Right. Irfan, what is the latest that you can share with us from the ground?
Information is same so far, and after those two meetings, government of Pakistan has not updated anything. For the journalists, they are staying still in our convention centers, and they are reporting to their homelands and their, respective news agencies and TV channels. And if anything comes out of these meetings, that must have been shared with the international media. But so far, the news reports which have come out of these meetings are very positive. And today, Prime Minister of Pakistan has his delegation held meetings separately with Iranian delegation and U.S. delegation, and both meetings were positive. And after that, government of Pakistan has issued a statement that it was a stepping stone towards the global peace. And I believe so. There will be a dinner, and it is too early to say anything that who will be joining Prime Minister on the dinner. But for sure, it would be a political dinner, and we would be waiting that these guys would be joining Prime Minister. I don't know whether they will be releasing any picture, any video, but for sure they will have another round of discussion, and it would be informal discussion. And for that matter, tomorrow I believe so there will be a round of discussion with both the teams, both the delegations. They will be sitting across the table and would present draft. But before reaching to that point, there is a huge team with both the delegations, and they would make sure that every single point is corrected, because the technical experts, they are with them, and they will try to correct every single line, every single issue.
Right.
So there should not be any problem when the final draft comes out.
Right.
But as long as Israel is concerned, I believe so. Recently, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, has given a very strong message to him that he should stop attacks in Lebanon because there are peace talks going on, and there should not be any issue because the entire West, Pakistan, India, China, all the countries, they are badly
Right.
impacted. And I have seen very long queues of Indian people who are
Okay.
carrying cylinders for LNGs, and they're looking for fuel. So everybody is suffering, and to avoid these things, I think we should hope that something positive would come out.
Right. The world clearly, is looking forward to something positive to come out of these talks. But Mr. Brahmacharlani, it's a very important moment. All three sides on the table, and you've got the facilitator also on the table. So there are direct talks that are happening. Your thoughts, breakdown or breakthrough? What can be expected?
Let's look at the biggest contradiction, Hina, which is that Trump has been repeatedly saying in public that Iran is a terrorist state, it should never have a nuclear weapon. Where are these peace negotiations happening? They're happening in a terror-sponsoring nation that is nuclear armed. A country that the U.S. has shielded for long, a country that the Trump administration today mollycoddles. So here is the U.S. trying to prevent Iran from going nuclear. That's the claim that Trump has made, while mollycoddling a country that has long-standing ties with terrorist groups and whose covert nuclear weapons program was aided and abetted both by the US and by China. And this tells you a lot about how geopolitics dictates foreign policy of America. It's not about principles. It's not about non-proliferation, nuclear non-proliferation. It's about pursuing narrow geopolitical objectives. That's what drives American foreign policy. And to hell with India's interest, for example. India might be a close strategic partner of America. Yet the Americans are not bothered about India's interest, for sure.
Right. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen. Appreciate you joining us with your inputs on this story. And viewers, it's going to be our top focus ahead as well. For now, we are slipping into another very, very short break. We'll be back with lots more. Don't go anywhere.